everybody, this is Crystal Sierra, singer, songwriter, producer. They say pick one of those and be the best at it, but it's hard to do one without the others. So today's tutorial is going to be about how to begin producing music. When you first open up your DAW, it's always going to have a default of your BPM at 120. So say you go and you start finding some sounds that you like, some samples, and you want to drag them in. When you first open up Logic, you're going to do Option Command A, and you're going to make audio tracks. That makes audio tracks. You make audio tracks, as you can see here, I've made 3 audio tracks. And prior to dragging in any samples, you want to know what the BPM is, which means beats per minute. You want to know what BPM it is. Most of the time it may tell you. If it doesn't, you're going to have to cut on that, go to a whole nother site and just keep playing the sample and beating along with it on the downbeat until you can kind of get an idea, not kind of, but really be sure of what the BPM is. So in this case, I found out after I listened to these samples that it's in 115 beat per minute. So here, you're gonna go and change your default BPM, which is always 120 when you open up any DAW, at least Logic. Change it to 115, and then you wanna establish what key it is and what the time signature is. We know it's in 4/4, and it's in A flat minor. So you do that first before you drag in any samples, because those samples are not going to line up. If they were already made in, let's say, 115 BPM, and you try to drag them in and you have not changed your default at 120 to 115, they're gonna be off. Your click track's gonna be off, and you keep producing and making all these beats, the whole time you're gonna be off. It's gonna be ruined. So that's the main thing that you wanna establish first. So cutting to how I begin producing, I'll start with some melodies and chord progressions first, and then I will establish my beats. So this is what I've come up with so far. Let's take a listen. So far, right? And if you want to continue to let that go on, and say you want to take the piano and you want to make that continue on another 8 bars, which is this second track, you would take this, you would click, let's say this one, you click on it, these are the violins, right? You would hold down Option, drag this over 1 more bar, line it up right on 13, and then it'll repeat. Sometimes keyboards can be a little slow. A person that's playing freely may say 115 beat per minute, and sometimes you have to really, really listen. You may have to slice up some of those chord progressions and nudge them over. You're not going to snap them over. You're going to nudge them, because you need to have that freedom with ticks or nudges, and that's a whole nother tutorial. So anyway, what I wanted to get into after that is that after I do that, then I'm going to press Shift Command S, and I'm going to create some software tracks, which are instrument tracks. And I like to go in and maybe find some nice, fresh, up-to-date snares and kicks. So here's a nice snare rim shot that I found, right? So what you're gonna do is go, I hope you can see this. I hope you can see this. You're gonna go to your instrument track that you've set up. You're gonna highlight it. Over to the far right in your region section, you're gonna see a tab that says Instruments. You're gonna drop down and choose Ultra Beat. Ultra Beat looks like this. Once you're in Ultra Beat, it's always going to say user default. You want to drop down there. You want to go to drum kits, and then you want to click on drag and drop samples. You would never just find a snare and take it from off of wherever you got it from, the sample, and drag it onto an instrument track, because you will not have the freedom to play with it. You want to sync it up with your MIDI board. This is really great to be able to play chord progressions, kick, snares, hi-hats, but you need to program it on here. So how you'll do that, once you're in Ultra Beat, and I'll drag this over here, you have the same keyboard set over to the left, but all of these are blank right now. So you want to cut this on, And once you clicked on that drag and drop samples, this box right here is where you're going to drag all of your samples. So I like that snare, right? Do we agree we like that? So I've highlighted this first sample right here. I'm going to take that and drag it right into here. Once I've done that, you now can hear it over here when you press it. And you can also hear it synced up to your MIDI board. So now it's there, and I'll just give you an example. We'll play the track, and I might decide you want to hit your record. So you might want to rehearse it first, and when you're ready to record it, it'll already be here set up as so that when you get ready to record it, you can program it in here. That's a whole nother session. So let's say I found that, right? And then I might say I like this top. Sounds like an open hi-hat or something. What you would do with that is you would before you drag it in, you click on this one in Ultra B. You click on your second one and you start to put them in order. You might say, I want to do my kick first. Usually I do. Then you're gonna maybe put in a couple of kicks in case you want to layer. Then you'll come up here and drag more in. You'll drag snares, hi-hats, rim shots, claps, whatever it is. Once you drag it in there, you're pretty much making your own customized drum rack. And once you have that, everything that you've put in those orders are going to be here, and they're also going to be across your keyboard. Once you have that in there, then you can start recording, creating, whatever rhythmic pattern you want to do to add to your song. So stay tuned for the next tutorial of me actually customizing my drum rack so that I can have the freedom of the sounds that I really like for this particular song, and I can at liberty work my MIDI board and start banging it out. Okay, stay tuned, you guys. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, I'm putting it on Facebook right now so you can actually ask me questions in Messenger. Thank you.